The Maniac Rum cult leader took a plea deal in the Eastern District of New York yesterday. He also referred to himself as, quote, Commander Butcher. I'm going to break all of this down right now. It is such a disturbing case. This man is responsible for multiple acts of violence that were carried out against people in the United States and also in other countries as well, as he developed something called the Haters Handbook within this cult, where he taught his recruits how to carry out school shootings, bombings, and so much more. I'm Lauren Conlin. I'm with Los Angeles Magazine, and welcome to our daily pop culture, scandals, and crime news podcast. Now, I was at this hearing yesterday in the Eastern District of New York, so I'm actually going to play part of my, actually, you know what? I'll play the whole thing. It's about 3 to 4 minutes long, but I go into detail about what happened during the hearing. And by the way, this guy's name is Michail Chkhikvishvili. It's so confusing to say. I have such a hard time with it, but I'll try it again. Michail Chkhikvishvili. That's how you say it. And he's actually from Georgia, but not the state, Georgia in the USSR. So I'm going to play my video that I took right after court. I was reading my notes. I was basically describing what happened in there and what he pled guilty to, what the government thinks that he should be sentenced to. And then after I play that, I'll go into some other details that I reported on through LAMag.com. But this case, it seems to have floated under the radar, and it's a really important case here. Again, because 2 random acts of violence were actually carried out because of this guy. So I'm going to add my personal, there we go. My personal Twitter. I can't watch myself. It's so cringe, but I'll play it just because I have everything condensed right here.
Hi, everyone. I am outside of Brooklyn Federal Court today, where I attended a change of plea for the so-called leader of the, quote, Maniac murder cult. And this guy refers to himself as Commander Butcher. His name is Michail Chkhikvishvili, and he's actually from Georgia, not the state, the Georgia in the Soviet, but he had originally pled not guilty to a slew of charges, including conspiracy to solicit violent felonies, solicitation to elicit violent felonies, distribution of information to the making of explosives, and transporting explosive with intent to injure or kill, and then criminal forfeiture. So he was here to plead guilty to counts 2 and 3, and those were solicitation to elicit violent felonies or hate crimes, and then the distribution of information to the making of explosives. So he changed his plea and pled guilty to those. And each of those counts, I think they are 20 years each. And the government actually recommended that he get between 168 to 210 months.
I said it was 16 years, and I say that because he's been in the MDC for almost 2 years, I believe. Or no, 1 year, sorry. So it truthfully is 17 and a half years, but with time served, 16 years.
So that's looking like around 16 years. It was a very long, tedious process because he had a translator, and the judge in this, she was a magistrate judge. She wasn't the district judge that would normally preside over this. So there was a lot of back and forth about, okay, do you waive the right to have me do it over the district judge, excuse me. So it was a whole thing. But when they went over the evidence as to, or the government went over the evidence as to what they had, it was pretty crazy. So this guy communicated on the internet. He used, Telegram or Signal or whatever to basically create this gang of white supremacists to commit acts of violence on Jewish people in Brooklyn specifically, and other minorities. So the government said that, they found something he made called the Haters Handbook, which really told people how to carry out school shootings. He had extensive communication with a co-conspirator named Nicholas Welker, who was previously convicted. They had lots of just evidence online of his communications and kind of, his Instagram handle, all of this horrible stuff. But one instance in particular that, got him busted here was that there was an undercover Fed that he had reached out to and wanted them to dress as Santa Claus and hand out candy outside of a Jewish school to Jewish children that was laced with rat poison. And he told him how to get the rat poison, how to make certain poisons. Just really, really bad. So yeah, he will be sentenced at a later date. And we'll see what happens, but he also had a chance to speak and admit to these crimes, and he said, quote, "I take full responsibility for my actions, and I would like to apologize to those communities." And I was actually sitting in the gallery with a group of Jewish people in the community.
And by the way, when he said that, there was a lot of scoffing by what I'm about to say, these Jewish men. And there was one woman, but part of the community, but they were like, ugh, like, and I don't blame them. I don't know. It could have been his accent or just the fact that I couldn't see him, but he did seem kind of emotionless, but that's my opinion.
Who have been attending hearings for hate crimes like this. And they said, they were scared, they were concerned. And when he had said sorry and apologized, they kind of scoffed. They're like, yeah, whatever. So it'll be interesting to see what this guy gets. But by the way, he's only 23 years old, which is crazy. I mean, he just threw his life away. So what an idiot. But we'll see what happens with his sentence.
Okay, so yeah, he will be sentenced at a later date. But what I want to make very clear here is that why can't I talk? I am still sick, by the way. My son, but if you watched the live stream yesterday, I had mentioned he was homesick with a horrible fever. It finally broke today, so he's resting and without fever reducers. That's the most important thing. That, thank goodness. But yeah, now I'm gonna get all of that. So okay, so yes, what's important to note is that because of this guy, I'll just call him Michael, I'm not going to say his last name, or Commander Butcher, his messaging within his sick cult, 2 acts of violence were carried out because of him. This was one of them was a January 2025 school shooting in Tennessee, the Antioch High School shooting in Nashville. The attacker live streamed part of this attack, and prior to the attack, in an audio recording posted online, the attacker claimed he was taking action on behalf of the Maniac Red Rum cult and at least one other group. So the attacker's manifesto explicitly mentioned Michail, and one person was killed, one person was injured, and then the shooter turned the gun on himself. And then in August of 2024, a guy live streamed himself stabbing 5 people outside of a mosque in Turkey. And he was wearing a tactical vest bearing Nazi symbols. And again, a manifesto from this attacker included explicit references to Michail Chkhikvishvili, whatever. I can't say it. I'm sorry. I'm so bad at these names. Just forgive me. But yeah, and he linked this to the Haters Handbook. So this guy is responsible for horrible, horrible, horrible crimes. I mean, the fact that he really wanted somebody to dress up like Santa and hand poison candy out to Jewish kids is just, it's despicable. These are despicable actions. And I hope that they find more people associated with this cult, which is actually, it's called the MKY cult. I hope they find more people and more people get arrested. I did mention he had a co-conspirator that was already arrested, Nicholas Welker. And the indictment is so disturbing. I don't know why I did not hear about this case sooner. I kind of just stumbled across it this week, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go see this guy plea out. Because again, he changed his plea in order to not go to trial, because it sounds like the government had overwhelming evidence and he was facing 40 years total. instead of, well, I guess he still is facing 40 years. Sorry. So he's facing basically life in prison, I believe. And now the government is recommending 17 and a half years max. So we'll see what the judge says. But yeah, in the indictment, I mentioned it's super disturbing. He talks about wanting these recruits to film themselves doing horrible things to what they call racial minorities. So, brutal beatings, all the things that are going to get me out of the algorithm. But anyway, I'll keep you guys posted on sentencing and how many years he gets, because I hope he gets the max. But anyway, thank you so much for watching Los Angeles Magazine, our podcast for your daily pop culture scandals and crime news. I'm Lauren Conlon, and I'll see you all tomorrow.